¿Qué tal, estudiantes? Hoy vamos a aprender sobre la familia. While today's focus is on vocabulary, we will also in this unit review the verb tener, ser, estar, y también leer about adjetivos posesivos, like how to say my cousin, his aunt, or our family. We will also learn about comparativos, like saying someone is the best or worst at something. ¿Están listos todos? ¡Vamos! Let's look at nuestro árbol genealógico o árbol de la familia. In our family tree, we can see our miembros de familia. If you go up to the top several generations, tenemos los bisabuelos, our great-grandparents. From there, we can see their children, los abuelos, or our grandparents, who raised our padres, or parents, and our tíos, or aunts and uncles. Los tíos tienen kids of their own, who would be our cousins, or primos. And our parents had us and our siblings, or hermanos. Other people we may see on our family tree are los novios, significant others, or our pets, las mascotas. Por favor, sacan tus notas nuevas and flip to the page with all of our vocabulario nuevo. Take good notes, write down the translations, and follow along the best you can. Los bisabuelos, the great-grandparents. El bisabuelo, great-grandpa. La bisabuela, great-grandma. These people raised who we call our grandparents, los abuelos. El abuelo, grandpa. La abuela, grandma. When you add ito or ita to the end of a word, it makes it small or endearing. So you may hear someone refer to their grandma in a loving way as their abuelita. Los padres are the parents. A father is called el padre, but some may say dad or papá. La madre is the mother, but some may just say mom or mamá. A veces ocurrió un divorcio, and los padres marry other people. These are the step-parents, los padastros. El padastro is stepdad, and la madrastra is stepmom. Nuestros padres o siblings son nuestros tíos y tías. En español, these are los tíos, plural. Uncle es el tío, y aunt es tía. Cuando los tíos tienen babies or kids, they are called cousins o los primos. El primo es un chico cousin y la prima es una chica cousin. When we have siblings, they are called los hermanos. Brother is el hermano and sister is la hermana. Remember that ito or itak make a word mean little or endearing. So while my sister is a grown woman, I may still refer to her as hermanita. When you are dating someone, you become significant others, or los novios. A boyfriend is el novio, a girlfriend is la novia. When los novios get married, they become los esposos, or los maridos. The husband is el esposo o marido, and the wife, la esposa o la marida. Other words related to our family would involve our pets, las mascotas. El gato is cat, el perro is dog, el hamster is hamster, el pez is a fish, la tortuga is a turtle, el lagarto is a lizard, el serpiente is a serpent or lizard, el conejo is a rabbit or bunny, el pájaro is a bird, el hurón is a ferret. Excelente clase! Be sure to practice this vocabulary right away. You will have a quiz on this coming up very quickly. Please listen to your teacher and be actively studying this vocabulary outside of class. Next, we will do a look at to practice the vocabulary we just learned. Please be sure to also check out the Study for A1 U3L2 test, where you can find lots of study games and resources to help you study. Ahora, vamos a practicar. Hola, hoy vamos a aprender de los adjetivos posesivos y los números en español. Los adjetivos posesivos are like saying my, your, his, hers, ours, theirs in English. Be sure to take good notes as you watch the video, and pause the video if you need a little extra time to get your note packets out and locate the portion of the notes that have your possessive adjectives. In English, the forms of possessive adjectives do not change, pero en español, los adjetivos posesivos cambian. Possessive adjectives tell you who owns something or describes a relationship between people. So the biggest thing to remember about adjetivos posesivos is that they must agree in number. If you are talking about only one thing, you would use singular possessive adjectives in español. Por ejemplo, mi, tú, su, nuestro, vuestro y su. Para dos o más cosas o cosas plurales, usan mis, tus, sus, nuestros, vuestros y sus. Take a moment to put these into your notes so you can study them again later. Now, while all possessive adjectives must agree in number, there are two forms that also must agree in gender. Nuestro, which means our, can also be nuestra if talking about ownership or relationship of something feminine. Es la misma con la palabra vuestro. Okay, now here is something that we have touched on before, but let's quick review. In Spanish, we have definite articles. This is how we say the in Spanish. These are el, la, los, or las. También tenemos los artículos indefinidos. Un, una, unos, unas. And this is how we say a, and, or some. But there is a third choice, and those are the adjetivos posesivos. We must choose one of those three. You can't use all three at the same time when describing a noun. You have to pick one to describe your noun. Let's look at some examples. Mira esa frase y decide cuáles son los errores. How would you correct the error in this sentence? What's wrong with it? If you said we had to pick one article, you are right. You can't describe a noun with all three. You must choose. Okay, let's try some more. Take a moment to translate these sentences into Spanish. How did you do? Take a look at both the use of possessive adjectives and that the endings all match in both the gender and number of the nouns they are describing. Remember what we say in class. Remember the secret recipe, all the parts must agree. Let's recap.
Today, we'll see how to use and form possessive adjectives in Spanish. In any language, adjectives describe nouns. To describe this house, I can use the adjectives big and blue. To describe this dog, I can use the adjectives cute and little. Possessive adjectives provide a specific type of description, to whom the noun belongs. My big blue house, or their cute little dog. In English, the possessive adjectives are my, your, his, her, its, our, your, and their. As usual, our chart is divided into first, second, and third person, as well as singular and plural. So, this your is for things that belong to you, singular, while this plural your is for things that belong to all of you. In English, we use the same word for both, so it's normal if the difference isn't obvious right away. Now, here's the equivalent chart in Spanish. Mi, mis, tú, tus, su, sus, nuestro, nuestra, nuestros, nuestras, vuestro, vuestra, vuestros, vuestras, su, sus. This chart shows that su and sus are used for the English their, Remember that ustedes, the plural you used in Spanish-speaking countries other than Spain, also goes in that third-person plural box in the bottom right. So unless you're in Spain, you can use su and sus instead of vuestro. It's the same for formal and singular. If you would use usted with the person, your will be su, not the informal tú. Note that this tú is not a subject pronoun. Tú with an accent means you, but this one without an accent means your. So, Spanish has a similar breakdown to English, but it adds another layer of agreement based on the possessed thing or person. Singular, plural, and for nuestro and vuestro, gender. For example, to say my in Spanish, we have two options, depending on the number of nouns that are mine. If it's one, or singular, the word is mi. Mi hermana, my sister. If it's two or more, so plural, we add an S not only to the noun, hermanas, but also to the possessive adjective, mis hermanas. This goes for the rest of the possessive adjectives as well. If you're talking about more than one noun, you add an S to the possessive adjective. For nuestro, and in Spain, vuestro, there is also gender to consider. If the object you're describing is feminine, change the O at the end of the word to an A. Ella es nuestra amiga. And like other forms, we add an S for plural words, whether they are masculine or feminine. Ellas son nuestras amigas. They are our female friends. Ellos son nuestros amigos. They are our male friends. Remember that in Spanish, whenever you have a mixed gender group, you default to the masculine form. Ellos son nuestros amigos, even if the majority of the group is female.
What a great review! Okay, now because we will talk about age and birthdays in this chapter, we will need to review our numbers and go up a little higher. Say the numbers with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Then, once we get to 16 through 19, we see a bit of a change. 16 is nothing more than 10 and 6 together. Let's also talk about other patterns we may see. The Z in diez turns into a C in 16, as well as in the words for the following numbers, 17, 18. In Spanish, the letter C in front of the vowels E and I has the exact same sound as Z. In Spanish, the word for and is E, so if we wanted to put these words together, it would look like this, 16. The combination of the letters C plus Y is extremely uncommon in Spanish, and in fact, it only exists in a few foreign words. That's why, to make it look more aesthetic, it changes to E. The reason for this change is based on the rules of Spanish accents. Words that end in vowel plus S always have an accent. Seis is a short word and only has one syllable, so it doesn't require one. However, 16 is a longer word, so it does need one. Okay, let's keep it going. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Notice that 100 is 100, but in every other number that follows it, it changes to ciento, and it's followed by the next number. For example, 101 is 101, and 187 would be 187. Sometimes the number in front of cientos will be the exact same word we learned in the beginning, such as 400 or 800, but there are others that are a bit irregular. These are 700 and 900 that don't exactly use the words siete and nueve. The words for hundreds can be masculine or feminine depending on the noun they're modifying. For example, if we're talking about 300 t-shirts, because that's a feminine word in Spanish, we would say 300 camisetas. But if we're talking about 300 dishes, we'll say 300 platos. 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. Number plus mil or millón. In Spanish, big numbers are broken up with dots instead of commas. In the list of numbers below, we'll use the English standard so there's no confusion. But, for example, 2,345,392,203 in Spanish would be written 2.345.392.203. From there, it is just a combination of these numbers and patterns. 2000, 2018, 2245, and so on. Try to see if you know these ones in Spanish. $2024, 53, 450, 800, 82, 1993. Great job! Okay, let's practice using our vocabulary and grammar by having conversations with those around us. Please turn to a compañero and take turns asking them the questions on the screen. Also, take turns answering the questions with frases completas. You will get 1 minuto y 30 segundos para hablar con tu compañero. Then the question will switch. The goal is to stay in Spanish mode until the end of the activity. Sí se puede! Great job, everybody! Okay, now we are going to practice in a different way. You can either play against a partner or against the computer. Check Google Classroom for the link to this chapter's vocabulary to play Battleship. When you are done, you may work on your task slides. ¿Qué tal todos? Before we get started today, let's do a quick warm-up. Complete the following sentences with correct word from the Banco de Palabras. I will give you a second to think. Let's see if you were on the right track. La hija de mi tía es mi prima. Mi cumpleaños es el 2 de enero. Los padres de mi madre son mis abuelos. Mi perro se llama Rover. El 5 de diciembre es mi fecha de nacimiento. Great job! All right. Ahora, clase, vamos a aprender los comparativos y superlativos. Grab out your note packets and be sure to take good notes. Pause the video if you need more time grabbing out tu paquete de notas. Los comparativos son las palabras mejor, peor, más, menos, tan, tantos, which are like saying best, worst, more, less, or just as. Comparativos are expressions used to compare two people or things. In English, comparative adjectives are formed by adding er to the end of a word or by using more, less, and as. Por ejemplo, Rodrigo es más alto que su hermana. Rodrigo is more tall or taller than his sister. When you are talking about something being more or less than something else, you say, María es más alta que Juan. María is more tall than Juan. Este libro es menos interesante que la película. This book is less interesting than the movie. Mi perro come más que tu perro. My dog eats more than your dog. When you are talking about someone being older or younger than someone else, you say, Él es mayor que yo. He is older than I am. El bebé es menor que el chico. The baby is younger than the boy. La abuela es mayor que su hijo. The grandma is older than her son. Soy menor que mi mamá. I am younger than my mom. An interesting thing about comparatives is that they too have to match in number. So if you are talking about something in the plural, you will add s after the word. For example, to say the grandparents, plural, are older than the kids, you would say, Los abuelos son mayores que los niños. Now, when you are talking about something being better or worse than something else, you say mejor for better and peor for worse. Por ejemplo, la leche es peor que la limonada. El lápiz rojo es mejor que el lápiz verde. A correr es peor que montar en bicicleta. Tan, como, and tanto mean the same thing. They both mean as much as. So what is the difference between tan and tanto? The real difference between tan versus tanto resides in which parts of speech tan and tanto work with, and what exactly they are comparing to. Tan goes with adverbs. Adverbs are words that describe a verb. He sings loudly. Another adverb, ended too quickly, or even a whole sentence. Fortunately, I had brought an umbrella. Tanto goes with adjectives. Adjectives are words that describe the qualities or states of nouns. Enormous, silly, yellow, fun, fast. They can also describe the quantity of nouns. Many, few, millions, 11. When using tan to talk about verbs, there are no other forms in terms of gender and number. Here are a few examples on when to use tanto como. To compare qualities and characteristics, to emphasize qualities and characteristics, or to ask questions about quantities. When using tanto to talk about nouns, remember to put it in the correct form in terms of gender and number. This is how you'll use it. Tanto for masculine singular nouns, tanta for feminine singular, tantos for masculine plural, and tantas for feminine plural. You will use it to compare quantities, to indicate intensity or duration of an action, to emphasize quantity or intensity, to ask questions about quantities, to show an imprecise quantity, or to express that you consider a quantity excessive. So remember, here are a couple formulas to add to your notes. Más plus adjetivo plus que, menos plus adjetivo plus que, and then finally, tan plus adverb plus como. Algunos ejemplos son, Santa es más generoso que yo. Santa is more generous than I. El hipopótamo es menos alto que la jirafa. The hippo is less tall than the giraffe. Ella es tan sincera como su hermano. She is as sincere as her brother. A comparative compares two things, but a superlative shows the best, worst, biggest, etc. in a group. Example, comparative, mi hermano es más alto que yo. My brother is more tall than I. Superlative, mi hermano es el más alto de la familia. My brother is the tallest of the family. The formula for a superlative sentence is as follows. El, la, los, las, plus más, menos, plus adjetivo, por ejemplo, María es la menos interesante de mis primos. Maria is the least interesting of the cousins. Mi pez es el más aburrido de mis mascotas. My fish is the most boring of my pets. See? You are starting to catch on. Okay, here is another one. El, la, los, las, plus sustantivo, aka noun, plus más, menos, plus adjetivo. Por ejemplo, Cece is the most interesting friend that I have. You would say, Cece es la amiga más interesante que tengo. And finally, when saying someone is the best at a certain concept, lo más o menos plus un concepto. For example, the most important is to study. Se dice, lo más importante es estudiar. Excelente! Let's put it all together and watch this short telehistoria about familia. While you watch, try to answer the questions.
Hola, mamá.
Hola. Hola. Hola.
Tostones. Qué rico.
Señora Vélez, ¿es su cumpleaños?
No, es el cumpleaños de Ana.
Mi hermana pequeña ahora es grande.
¡Feliz cumpleaños! ¿Cuántos años tienes?
Hoy tengo 9 años, mañana 10.
Mañana, el 28 de febrero.
No, el 1 de marzo.
El cumpleaños de mi abuela es el 1 de marzo. Ella vive en Miami.
Ah, sí. ¿Cuántos años tiene?
Tiene 68 años.
Mamá, ¿dónde está la camiseta?
La camiseta de Alicia
Sí, Trini Salgado está en la escuela a las 4.
está encima del escritorio.
No, no está. ¿Dónde está la camiseta?
Tus primos.
¿Tus primos tienen la camiseta de Alicia?
Ellos comen con nosotros todos los viernes. A nuestros primos les gusta jugar al fútbol. Y es una camiseta del Club Atlético Palmeras.
Camila, es Celia. Tengo una pregunta.
Es mi tía Camila. La tía Camila es la madre de Esther y Tito. Mis primos tienen 14 y 10 años.
¿Es tu familia?
Mi madre tiene 2 hermanas, Inés y Mónica. Mi padre tiene un hermano, Sergio, y una hermana, Camila.
Gracias, Rodrigo. Tu primo Tito tiene la camiseta de tu amiga Alicia.
¡Ay, qué bueno! ¿No?
Mi primo tiene perros muy grandes. No me gustan los perros de Tito.
primo Tito es menor que tú?
Sí, pero
¿Qué?
sus perros. No me gustan sus perros.
¿No te gustan los perros? ¿Son simpáticos?
Me gustan más los gatos. Son más simpáticos que los perros.
Los perros son menos perezosos que los gatos.
Los perros de Tito son perezosos y muy grandes. Son tan grandes como tú. Sus perros son muy malos y peores que los gatos.
Rodrigo, ¿no hay perros?
Si hay perros. ¿Estás tan nerviosa como yo?
Peor.
¡Tito!
Hola, Rodrigo. ¿Tu camiseta?
Okay, take a few moments and turn to a partner to discuss the following questions. ¿Es el cumpleaños de quién? ¿Quién es el hermano mayor de Ana? ¿Dónde está la camiseta de Alicia? ¿Qué significa la palabra los primos? ¿El primo Tito es mayor o menor que Rodrigo? ¿Por qué están nerviosos Rodrigo y Marisol? Finally, our last activity, you will pair up con un compañero and use the rest of class time to practice asking and answering questions about family. You have the family tree to help you answer your partner's questions, and they have one that will help answer your questions. Remember to answer your partner's questions in una frase completa. After you and your partner have finished hablando en español, please turn in your worksheet and work on your task slides. Great job today, everyone!